So, are you an individual on the autism spectrum who has been blamed by your partner or spouse of being insensitive, selfish, and even narcissistic? If so, you may have a condition that is a comorbid condition of Asperger's or high-functioning autism. And I run into this pretty much in every case when I'm working with couples. The NT spouse, almost without exception, blames the autistic spouse of purposefully being selfish and uncaring and totally lacking in empathy. So we'll take a deep dive here and look at alexithymia, which is the condition associated in most cases, if not all cases, of Asperger's and high-functioning autism. If I have alexithymia, I have a real difficulty recognizing emotions and their subtleties and textures. It makes it real difficult for me to understand the intricacies of what others feel and think. Some more examples would be, if I have this condition, I would have a detached and tentative connection to others. I'd be hypersensitive to some physical sensations, perhaps especially touch. I would have a constricted style of thinking, limited or rigid imagination, and I would have difficulty recognizing facial cues in others, expressing feelings, identifying different types of feelings, and I would have a limited understanding of what even causes feelings. Now, there are two dimensions to alexithymia. One would be called the affective dimension, and this is where difficulties arise in reacting, expressing, feeling, and imagining, which would be the experiencing part of our emotional experience. And then there's also the cognitive dimension, and this is where the individual struggles to identify, interpret, and verbalize feelings, which is the thinking part of our emotional experience. So if I have alexithymia, I'm basically emotionally unresponsive. And this can be perceived by my neurotypical spouse as being uncaring or just not making her important. So it's important for your neurotypical spouse to realize that the missed cues, the flat reactions, or the lack of emotional recognition have real psychological and neurobiological origins. I have run into countless people on the autism spectrum when we're doing relationship work where the individual with alexithymia has been literally punished, shamed, and even mocked for his or her emotional unresponsiveness. If this is the case with you, realize that your neurotypical partner does not speak, hear, or sense the same emotional language as you. And as a result, and as you probably have experienced, this can cause a lot of conflict and misunderstandings in the relationship. So what can be done? Well, if I have this condition called alexithymia, my goal is going to be to strengthen my ability to identify and understand feelings. I'll need to begin the business of teaching myself about the subjective experiences of others. I'll need to keep in mind that stretching and learning emotional awareness is also going to be a very long journey for me, especially if I'm 35, 45, 55 years old. But there are some things that can be done to improve in this area. And I will put a few suggestions to get you started on some self-help strategies below this video. So in summary, alexithymia is a trait that makes it hard for me to find words for thoughts and to find words for feelings. It's kind of a lack of vocabulary in the emotions department. This can be mild to moderate to severe. Some people have such a mild version of alexithymia that it virtually goes unnoticed. Others have a severe form of alexithymia such that their partners almost believe that he or she is narcissistic or even sociopathic, quite honestly. So when identified, alexithymia can be treated with the goal of making feelings and their textures easier to navigate. And again, if you'll look below this video, I have a few suggestions to get you started.